Hello and welcome to another episode of the English Leap podcast, the best place to improve your listening and speaking skills. I am your host, and I am so happy you have joined me today for this lesson. Today, we are going to talk about something very important for your fluency. We are not studying grammar rules today, and we are not memorizing long lists of difficult vocabulary words. Instead, we are focusing on common phrases that you can use immediately. These are the building blocks of daily conversation. When you know these phrases, you do not have to translate words in your head. You can simply speak naturally and quickly. This lesson is perfect for beginners and anyone who wants to sound more like a native speaker. Relax, listen carefully, and let's begin our journey to better English together. The first category of phrases we must discuss is greetings. You probably know the word hello, but there are many other ways to greet people. When you see a friend, you can say, "How's it going?" This is a casual and friendly way to ask how someone is doing. It is very common in American English and British English. Another similar phrase is, "What have you been up to?" This phrase asks what the person has done recently. It shows that you care about their life and their activities. If you see someone you haven't seen in a long time, you can say, "Long time no see." This is a classic phrase that is easy to remember and perfect for meeting old friends. When someone greets you, you need to know how to respond naturally. If someone asks, "How are you?" you should try to avoid just saying, "Fine." Fine can sometimes sound a little bit cold or short. Instead, you can say, "I'm doing well, thanks." This sounds much more positive and polite. If you want to be very casual, you can say, "Not much, you?" This is the perfect answer if someone asks, "What's up?" It means that your life is normal and calm right now. Remember, conversation is like a game of tennis. You must hit the ball back. Always ask, "And you?" after you answer a question about yourself. Now, let us talk about phrases for making small talk. Small talk is the polite conversation you make with people you do not know very well. A very safe topic for small talk is the weather. You might hear someone say, "It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" This is a question tag. They are asking you to agree with them. You can reply, "Yes, it is lovely," or "I hope it stays this way." If the weather is bad, you can say, "Can you believe this rain?" Complaining a little bit about the weather is a very common way for people to bond and start a conversation. Another common topic for small talk is the weekend. On a Monday or Tuesday, people often ask, "How was your weekend?" This is a standard question in offices and schools everywhere. To answer this, you can use phrases like, "It was great, I just relaxed." If you did something specific, keep it simple. You can say, "I went to the cinema," or "I visited my family." If it is Friday, the question changes. People will ask, "Do you have any plans for the weekend?" You can answer, "I am going to take it easy," which means you will rest and not do much work. Sometimes you will be in a conversation and you will not understand what the other person said. This is normal, so do not panic. You need phrases to ask for clarification. A very polite phrase is, "Could you please repeat that?" This is formal and works in every situation. If you are with friends, you can be shorter and say, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." This means you did not hear or understand the words. If someone speaks too fast, do not be afraid to say, "Could you speak a little slower, please?" Native speakers are usually happy to help you if you ask them politely. There are times when you understand the words, but you do not understand the meaning. In this case, you can say, "What do you mean by that?" This invites the person to explain their idea in a different way. You can also check your own understanding by saying, "Do you mean?" and then repeating the idea in your own words. For example, "Do you mean we are meeting at 5 o'clock?" This helps avoid mistakes and confusion. Using these clarification phrases shows that you are an active listener and that you want to participate correctly in the conversation. Let us move on to expressing your opinion. In English, we often soften our opinions so we do not sound too aggressive. Instead of saying, "This is bad," we say, "I think this could be better." Starting a sentence with "I think" or "in my opinion" is very common. It tells the listener that this is just your thought, not a fact. Another useful phrase is "if you ask me." For example, if you ask me, this movie is too long. It prepares the listener for your personal viewpoint. Learning to give opinions softly is a key part of speaking fluent English. When you agree with someone, you have many options. The simplest is, "I agree." But to sound more natural, you can say, "I think so too." If you agree completely and strongly, you can say, "I couldn't agree more." This means you are 100% on the same page. A casual phrase for agreement is, "You're right." It is short, simple, and effective. Using variety in your agreement phrases makes the conversation more engaging. It shows you are engaged with what the other person is saying and that you share their feelings. Disagreeing is a little bit more difficult because you want to be polite. You should avoid saying "you are wrong" because it is rude. Instead, try saying, "I see your point, but I think differently." This respects the other person while stating your own view. Another good phrase is, "I'm not sure about that." It is a soft way to say no or to show doubt. You can also say, "Actually, I have a different opinion." The word "actually" is very useful in English to introduce a correction or a contrasting idea without being mean. Now, let's imagine you are traveling or shopping. You will need phrases to ask for things. "I would like" is the magic phrase here. It is much better than saying "I want." For example, "I would like a coffee, please." It is polite and standard. If you are in a store looking for something, you can ask, "Do you have this in a different size?" Or, "Where can I find the milk?" If you are just looking and a shop assistant asks if you need help, you can say, "I'm just browsing things." Browsing means looking without a specific plan to buy. When you are at a restaurant, the phrases are similar. To order food, you can say, "Could I have the pasta, please?" Or, "I will take the salad." If you have a problem with your food, be polite. You can say, "Excuse me, this isn't what I ordered." If you want the bill at the end of the meal, you can simply ask, "Could we get the check, please?" In the UK, they usually say "the bill," while in the US, the check is more common. Knowing these small differences helps you sound more local wherever you travel. Let's discuss gratitude. Thank you is universal, but we can expand it. "I really appreciate it" is a wonderful phrase. You use this when someone does a favor for you. It sounds deeper and more sincere than a simple thanks. If someone gives you a gift or pays for your lunch, you can say, "You shouldn't have." This is a polite way of saying they are too generous. For small things like someone holding a door open, a quick "thanks a lot" or "cheers," if you're in Britain, is perfect. On the other side, we have apologies. "I'm sorry" is the basic phrase. If you make a small mistake, like bumping into someone, you can say, "My bad," in casual situations. If you are late for a meeting, you should say, "I apologize for the delay." This is more formal and appropriate for work. If you interrupt someone speaking, you can say, "Sorry to interrupt, but," and then share your thought. Being able to apologize smoothly keeps relationships strong and prevents small accidents from becoming big problems. We also need phrases for ending a conversation. You cannot just walk away. That would be strange. You need a transition. A great phrase is, "It was nice chatting with you." This signals that the conversation is finishing. You can also say, "I should get going." This explains that you have to leave without giving a specific reason. It is polite and accepted by everyone. If you are at work, you might say, "I'll let you get back to work." This is considerate because it respects the other person's time. Saying goodbye has its own variations. Goodbye is very final. Usually we say, "See you later," or "See you soon." These imply that you will meet again, which is friendly. Take care is a warm way to say goodbye, wishing the person safety. If you want to maintain the relationship, you can say, keep in touch. This encourages the other person to call or message you in the future. Have a good one is a very common American phrase that means have a good day or night. Now I want to talk about phrases used for making suggestions. If you are with friends and want to decide what to do, you can use let's. For example, let's go to the park. It includes everyone. Another way is asking, why don't we? As in, why don't we try that new restaurant? It is a suggestion framed as a question. You can also say, how about, followed by a noun or verb with ing. How about pizza tonight? Or how about going to the movies? These are essential for social planning. Sometimes you need to express uncertainty. You might not know the answer to a question. Saying, I don't know is fine, but I have no idea emphasizes that you really do not know. I'm not sure is softer. If you are making a guess, you can say, I assume that, or I guess so. If you want to check if you are correct, you can ask, am I right? These phrases help you navigate situations where you lack full information without stopping the conversation completely. Let's talk about giving encouragement. If your friend is nervous, you can say, you can do this, or good luck. If they are trying something difficult, tell them, give it your best shot. This means they should try their hardest. If someone fails or has a bad day, you can say, don't worry about it, or chin up, which means stay positive. Being supportive in English is a great way to make friends. People always remember how you made them feel, and these phrases create good feelings. We also use phrases to show surprise. If someone tells you news, you might say, really? Or, are you serious? If the news is good, you can say, that's awesome, or what a surprise. If the news is bad or shocking, you might say, oh my gosh, or I can't believe it. Your tone of voice is very important here. If you sound flat, the phrase will not work. You must put emotion into these words to show your genuine reaction to the news. Time is another concept we often talk about. If you are in a hurry, you can say, I'm running late. If you have plenty of time, you can say, we have time to kill. This means you have extra free time. If something happens very rarely, we use the idiom once in a blue moon. For example, I eat fast food once in a blue moon. Understanding these time-related phrases helps you schedule appointments and manage expectations with friends and colleagues. Let's look at telephone phrases. Talking on the phone is harder because you cannot see faces. When you answer, simply say, hello, or this is your name. If you want to speak to someone specific, ask, may I speak to John, please? If the person is not there, you can say, can I take a message? Or could you ask him to call me back? These are fixed phrases. If you memorize them, you will never feel nervous about making a phone call in English again. Now, consider phrases for asking for directions. Even with smartphones, we sometimes get lost. You can start by saying, excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the station? Or, is this the right way to the museum? If you are giving directions, use phrases like, go straight on, turn left at the lights, or it's on your right. These are simple instructions. Using excuse me first is crucial to get a stranger's attention politely before asking your question. Let's discuss phrases for describing feelings. Instead of just happy or sad, try I'm thrilled for very happy, or I'm exhausted for very tired. If you are nervous, you might have butterflies in your stomach. If you are sick, you can say, I'm feeling under the weather. These idioms make your English colorful. Native speakers use them constantly. Using under the weather sounds much more natural than saying, I am slightly ill. It shows you understand the culture of the language. What about when you need to interrupt? Sometimes you must speak while others are talking. Sorry to butt in. is a casual way to interrupt. May I add something? Is more polite and suitable for meetings. Just a quick point. Signals that you will not speak for long. We use these phrases to ensure we are not seen as rude. Timing is important, but the right phrase acts as a polite key to open the door to the conversation. Let's cover some filler words and transition phrases. These help you think while you speak. Well, you know, and actually are very common. Basically is used to summarize a point. Anyway is used to change the topic or return to the main subject. For example, anyway, as I was saying. These words do not have deep meanings, but they glue your sentences together. They make your speech flow more smoothly and sound less robotic. We are nearing the end of our list. Let's look at phrases for recommendations. You should check out is great for suggesting books, movies, or places. I highly recommend is stronger. It is worth a try means it is good enough to attempt. If you want to warn someone away, you can say, I wouldn't bother with that. People love getting good advice, so these phrases are very useful for building connections and sharing your favorite things. Finally, let's talk about understanding. If you follow a story, you can say, I get it, or that makes sense. If you have a sudden realization, you can say, it dawned on me. If you understand a difficult concept, you might say, I've got the hang of it. These phrases confirm to the speaker that their message has been received. It completes the communication loop effectively. We have covered so many phrases today, from greetings to goodbyes, from agreeing to disagreeing. The best way to learn these is to practice them one by one. Do not try to memorize everything at once. Pick 3 phrases from this video and try to use them tomorrow. Maybe use, I really appreciate it, instead of thanks. Or ask a friend, what have you been up to? Small changes in your vocabulary will make a huge difference in your fluency over time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the English Leap podcast. I hope you feel more confident about speaking English now. Remember, making mistakes is part of learning, so do not be afraid to speak up. If you enjoyed this lesson, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We upload new lessons every week to help you on your journey. Take care, keep practicing, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.